When someone asked me how I like this conference, I remember I told them that the only thing I can compare it to is how I felt in 2014, 2015 at deep learning and machine learning related events. Incredible energy, an incredible willingness to share and to learn from each other, and an incredible amount of inspiration. This is Causal Bandits Extra from the cAI Conference 2024 in London at the Royal Society. I hope you will enjoy this one.
Perhaps one of the biggest nuggets in causality that I had was of recent is that genes can potentially be used as instrumental variables since they're not likely to have confounders. I thought that really insightful.
What is one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like?
It's less on the technical side, it's more on human cognitive side. It's how to start causal approach within a company. How to bring all that useful knowledge to be effective within a setting of addressing questions about product.
And what's the main challenge for you today?
So I came in today kind of skeptical about how useful it is. Intellectually, I find it very interesting and have been hooked for the past few years. But I've been really inspired by a lot of inputs from people who have experience about the creativity involved, how to address the fact that whereas it is interesting, it is a cognitive effort for stakeholders, and how to address those sort of challenges. I'm really pumped up from conversations with people about addressing these issues, implementing these ideas within company setting.
Hi everybody, I'm Athanasios Vlontzos. I just spoke at the cAI conference here in the Royal Society, and to be honest, I had a blast here. It's been great, and thank you Alex for inviting me, and thank you to the Causal Lens organization team. It was actually a very, very intriguing, a very, very interesting session today.
What is your main insight from the conference so far?
I think it really boils down to what Gideon from the McCann Group spoke at the very end. It is communication is key. And when we're talking about communication is how we actually understand everything from the problem onset and setting to how we model things all the way to how we actually transmit this knowledge to stakeholders. And at all these points, you actually need to communicate with the various stakeholders, with the team, the experts, etc., and really going on the same level with everybody, either technical or non-technical backgrounds, is very, very important in order to achieve success really at the end of the day.
What is one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
That's an interesting one. I think from a purely theoretical kind of perspective and like actual active research, I would go with what happens when the causal graph changes over time, because nothing is stationary, nothing is static. A question that has been bothering me for quite a while now, and I think we will see some very, very interesting pieces of work coming out later on this exact topic.
What's your main challenge in your research work today, if you can share it?
I think the understanding of a specific problem and the factors at play is always a challenge, because every new problem comes with different factors, different kind of settings. But I think I'll go back to the actual communication. Being able to transmit the insights and also ask the proper questions that are going to be unlocking the problem is the most difficult part of all, and there's no prescribed way of doing it because each case is really different. And at the end of the day, really, it is what, again, as I said before, like what makes a failed project to a successful project. And when you try and invest in this communication and understanding between people, it really sets the background and the base for success.
Hi, my name is Mimie Liotsiou. I am a senior research data scientist at Dunnhumby. My background is in computer science, and my PhD was on causal methods for measuring online influence when people interact online.
What's your main insight from the conference so far?
My main insight is that it's going to be a bit of a meta insight. So there were lots of interesting talks. It's really great to see causal methods appreciated and explored across industry from many different sectors. Lots of excitement and different kinds of causal inquiry as well. Interventions, counterfactuals. It's really good to see all this activity from so many different angles.
What is is one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
Again, it's a bit of a meta answer. I guess one causal question in terms of when you design a causal analysis, I think one question that the analyst has to come up with a good answer to is when you draw your causal diagram, where do you stop? What's the sort of boundary, the scope of relevance, which factors should be in the diagram, where does it go too far into detail and you don't need that level of detail?
What is the main challenge in your work today, that you are facing in your work today? If you can share, of course.
Yes, let's see. One challenge is, first of all, causal methods are really valuable, but it can be challenging, as we saw in the conference, to get everyone on board to understand causal methods properly. That's kind of why I think a key thing to grasp is the distinction between identification and estimation. So that's a really key thing. There's so many great resources online, but people sometimes see a method and they just go and apply it. You need to be really careful when you read about new methods. Is this estimation? Is it identification? Does it assume randomized treatment assignment or not? So from the methods perspective, I think that's a challenge, but there's lots of good resources out there to guide people around that. And in practice, I think, there's so many causal problems, so it's really important to try and get business stakeholders to really grasp the value of answering them properly in a causal way. So that's something that is really of value, and you need a good, careful approach with using analogies and so on, like we saw today, to get people to really grasp the value and reap the benefits of causal methods.
Hello everyone, my name is Fernanda Hinze. I'm a data scientist at Croud. We're a full digital agency based in London, but we also have offices out in the UK, in New York, in Dubai. About my background, I studied 2 bachelor degrees, one in applied mathematics and one in economics back in Mexico. I have a master's in optimization and data analytics by the University of Essex. I've worked with data consultancy before, and now, I'm a Croud, discovering new ways of implementing causality in the marketing world.
What's the main insight from the conference so far?
I think it's very interesting to see how each company tackles the same problem in a different way. It was interesting to see not only the technical part, but also the business part of how we ask these questions. It's very simple to say, what if something had happened in a different way that it actually happened? But contextualizing this makes it way more approachable, and it also gives you new ideas of how to solve your problems as well. So I think getting this pool of ideas was the best of the conference, definitely.
What's one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
One of the questions that I have, and I do not have an answer, but I have a belief, if that's allowed, is that there is a limited amount of counterfactuals that you can ask yourself in order to get actual informative information for your problem. My belief is that there are a limited number of what-if questions for a specific scenario, until the point where the more what-ifs that you get won't really bring you much information to change your outcome, if that makes sense. But I do not know how to answer that yet. Maybe give me a couple of years. Hopefully I can find a way.
What's the main challenge that you are facing today in your work, if you can share it?
Yeah, of course. I'm new in the marketing world. Well, kind of new. I've been working in this agency for 11 months. And I think the biggest challenge is to keep up with the constant change that is happening in our industry. So data science is a big topic right now. Everybody is talking about AI and about implementing models, but they don't go into the detail of how much time it gets you to learn a new one, really understand the assumptions, and then be able to mix and analyze one in comparison to another, or even together. So I think the main challenge for me has been putting AI in a way that it complements without really substituting, and making that also clear for our clients without getting too technical, but technical enough so that people can trust it as much as we do.
Great.
Hi, my name is Clara, and I have a background in computer science and a PhD in artificial intelligence, and I'm a lead data scientist at BBVA AI Factory, which is BBVA is a bank, second largest bank in Spain.
What is your main insight from the conference so far?
For me, all talks were great, but the underlying question of why things happen and how the different people answer the why in their different sectors, Spotify or music sector, or trips, traveling, or even BP, was great. Yeah.
What is one causal question that that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
So, like working in banking, I'm always worried about how can we help customers cope with debt when they face difficulties. So one question is, how can we understand those factors to design solutions for customers and also for the bank?
So what's the main challenge that you're facing at your work today?
So I think that data scientists, or I personally like going to conferences and know what people are doing outside. So when we come back and bring it inside, sometimes it's difficult to test it inside. So I think one of our talents and also our work is to bring that vision that is happening outside inside. But we're making it.
I'm Javier. I work at BBVA as an expert data science. I have a degree in economics and I'm currently studying maths, and I love data science.
What's your main insight from the conference?
Okay, so the main insight is that I've looked at how many companies approach causality, and I've got some ideas to bring into our companies about some things that I didn't know, like counterfactual reasoning.
What is one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
Okay, how do you approach a problem where you have a causal effect estimation and the positivity assumption is broken and you don't have domain knowledge on the ground? I say that because in banking this happens a lot, but you have domain knowledge in the ground, so you can do some magic. So that's my question.
What is the main challenge that you're facing from your work today?
Okay, try to convince business people about the importance of advanced analytics.
Amazing.
I'm Álvaro Ibraín. I'm a data scientist at BBVA, and I'm a computer scientist.
What's the main insight from the conference?
Conference was full of insights, and I learned so much, so many different topics, such as causal discovery, causal inference, methods being applied at different industries, which are very interesting, and I will certainly have to read them in detail.
What's one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
I like to get more information about ensuring our causal graphs are actually true.
What's the main challenge that you face today at your work, if you can share?
I'd say maybe getting sure that my estimated treatment effects are actually right.
I'm Hugo. I'm working as a machine learning scientist at Booking.com, and my background is that I did a PhD in computer science in interpretable machine learning. I have worked before at Huawei and at Silo AI in Finland. That's about me for now.
What's the main insight from the conference so far for you?
I'll say the main insights first is to see such amazing and enthusiastic people in causal inference. I would say that, sorry to spoil, but your talk in assumptions is actually quite enlightening, because people spend too much time talking about assumptions and not about how can I actually deliver something that is useful despite the assumptions. And I think that stuck with me because it's something I thought about sometimes but didn't formulate.
Appreciate it, thank you. What's one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
I mean, the biggest causal question for me at the moment is if LLMs are going to stuck by for a long time or they're just a passing moment.
What's the main challenge that you face at your work today, if you can share it?
I think the main challenge that I'm trying to deal with is with cannibalization and interference, and trying to think about these problems in the landscape of e-commerce and how to take into account that in terms of modeling and
My name is Debora Andrade. I am the founder of Seamless AI. So basically I founded this company to advise small to mid-sized businesses on their AI strategies and AI workflows and data science. My background is actually academic. I was doing academic research until last year. I come from the imaging field, so that's how I got into machine learning, and then I decided to explore the brave new world and turn to the business kind of environment.
What's the main insight for you from this conference so far?
Main insight is perhaps that causal AI is doing a great job. Things that are critical limitations of classical machine learning models, such as to give directional flows or importance for features, and to contributes a lot to explainable AI, which is something that, for example, if you think about a neural network, there isn't, not even. That actually makes a whole new difference because, people bring up that they have a much easier life talking to shareholders, because various stakeholders, because they can actually explain why they want to take certain directions or to go for certain options. And that's great. Also to understand the actual cause of something so that it's like to do the thing that basically every data scientist dreams of, to differentiate causation from correlation. Yeah.
What's one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
I'm not sure, actually.
That's great. That's okay. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Puneet. I'm the head of data science at Croud. I've been the head of data science at Croud for a year now, close to. The key things that I'm trying to solve for our brands is how effective their marketing is, right? Where do you want to spend, the strategic, the tactical decision making that comes with it. So that's basically my role right now.
What's your main insight from the conference so far?
The key insight is overall, one of the key challenges that we face with marketing is the ability to balance your interpretability with accuracy. Historically, we've had a challenge with MMM in an effort to, kind of balance interpretability and accuracy. They've always failed. 95% of the MMMs never ever get used. So there's so many questions that get unsolved. What if I had not done marketing in the first place, right? The question of incrementality. Or what if I spent a bit more on channel Y or on channel Z, right? These are really, really hard questions to answer in marketing, and I really, really wanted to solve that. I've been talking to people around here in the conference. I see that's such an exponentially bigger problem than I actually really imagined it to be. And yeah, I mean, that's my biggest takeaway. How do we actually end up solving it? I understand, causal AI is quite new. The adoption is not yet there. But for me, it's like, how do we solve that particular problem? And that's the reason I'm here today.
What's one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
Causal questions, from a company point of view, right? It's the long-term effectiveness of brand. So I spend money today. How does it impact 1 year down the line? How does it impact 2 years down the line? Should I actually quit spending money on brand marketing? It's such a hard question to answer because the immediate KPIs are never visible. You run an experiment and you would figure out, oh yeah, there's no impact. Is that really how brand works? That's such a hard question to come down to, isn't it, right? That for me is the biggest, what's the causal impact of me spending money on brand marketing, on videos, on TV ads? How does that really work? How does it enable my performance marketing, right? Does it improve my click-through rates? I still do not really have an answer. That's where causation comes into play, right? That's my biggest challenge.
The last question I want to ask you is about the biggest challenge you face in your work today.
I work with a lot of CMOs and CFOs, right? The question that a CMO wants to answer is, what if I spent a bit more money on my marketing? Whereas a CFO wants to curtail the budgets, wants to say, right, you shouldn't be spending so much. For me, it's resolving that particular conflict, right? And I absolutely love it. Showing what would happen if you had not spent money on marketing versus what would happen if you spent a bit more. Or if even a bit less, right? It's all about making that marketing effectiveness, solving that particular marketing effectiveness question for me. There's no bigger question than that.
Hi, I'm Puneeth Gupta. I'm from Cisco Systems. And I lead a forecasting data science team that uses causal AI to predict Cisco's demand.
What is your main insight from the conference today so far?
We are on a journey here, and we're a journey to discover truth. And it's not going to come through traditional machine learning because there are just too many confusions that are involved with it. We really need a way to disentangle and to actually find relationships and directions and things like that, which is something that causal inference helps us to do.
What is one causal question that you don't know an answer to, but you would like to?
One, just one. Okay. I guess it would be really nice to understand if we built a causal graph on a response or a target of interest, what the uncertainty was in its prediction, in its completeness, because obviously we don't know the ground truth, right? Which we don't. And so we're in the process of discovering it. How could we understand, how close we are to the truth, and then what the effect of that is in the uncertainty of the predictions.
What is the main challenge that you face in your work today? Something you can share.
I think some of it is related to what I just said around ranges. It's a very target-rich environment. And so there's a lot to do. And I think from a resource perspective, that's probably the hardest thing, is to have the type of resources and the ability to answer all the pressing questions that are there, because I think what is there, what causal inference and causal AI offer is really breakthrough stuff, but we need to get to it, and we are limited right now by the tools that we have and the people that we have. I think it's a broad problem statement, And there are many things underneath that, problem statement out there, and you name the question, trying to answer it well, trying to answer it fast, trying to answer it in a way in which you can connect and actually change the workplace.
I'm Arthur Mello. I'm a senior data scientist working for Sephora and retail problems in general.
What's the main challenge that you face at your work today? Something you can share.
The main challenge is mostly matching the causal AI insights with the business intuition and trying to match those two and integrate business insight into causal AI and also present causal AI results to business. Yeah.